Alright, so I just started stretching this, and these are for the sake of documentation. This is a stretcher board, and so I started Xing along the lines, one staple, one staple, one staple, one staple, and then you just go all over in these extra spots. So this is my approach. When you don't get long enough staples, you gotta slam them, hammer them down with your staple gun. But I like just push really hard, and it mostly goes in there actually. But sometimes you don't do it hard enough and it just sticks out So I would recommend smaller staples, but not too small. They might come out, but probably not. You can put a lot of them in there like I do. And the whole point of this, as you can see, this is the backdrop of the documentation process. And so these are notes, but for sake of economics and saving money for paint, I peeled a canvas off of this stretcher bar, just like this one. And this is a new approach I'm taking. I've done it before, but I'm going to do a lot more of it because I want to paint and I want to document larger, but I just can't always afford new stretchers, and the space is the whole music room over there is just stacked in paintings, and they just don't sell quick enough, the documents. I mean, people believe you enough if you just tell them about it, right? Why do they have to keep staring at it all the time? Well, because things keep changing and perception changes and the picture develops into its own thing, and a lot of people do recognize this, and that's why I don't have more paintings stacked up everywhere. But what I'm saying is that this is probably a good method on saving a little money and reusing stuff. I mean, shit. And there's nothing wrong with rolling them up, I have 3 canvases right in there. Actually, there's 2 in there, and, I'm gonna probably put them on a cardboard tube of some sort, but for now, I'm just gonna do that, right? And so I'm gonna go in circles here, just like that. At this point, we can just keep going in the circle. You go like that, you go like this. I've just been on such a Helios Creed kick lately, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I must have started that last song over 20 times today already. Fields of Green. So, I mean, this is I want my documentation to be a bit more raw. So this canvas that I'm stretching is unprimed. I'll show you what an unprimed canvas looks like. See that? This one's a drum too. These are some documents I started. I just had to get them down. I didn't stretch the structure first, but that's completely fine. You can do it however you want. You don't even have to stretch it. I just sort of like and honestly, I only have 5 of these purple foam back ones that a friend in Milwaukee made, but this is just a standard Blick frame. I've made other frames similar to that. Like this one, I think, kind of similar. So you can that one needs to be fixed. I got silver duct tape, gonna do that. But let's stick to the task at hand. There's a lot of different ways you can stretch these things and make the stretchers. Some people call them strainers, I don't know. I've heard stretchers more often, but I like the odd nature of calling it a strainer. In a way, although it sounds kind of strange to me. Why don't we just call it a looper, or a flooper, or a tooper, or a doca looper? Then we can mix in document with loop, and there's only so many chances your brain will give you when you come up with an idea. You gotta just sometimes get it on there quick. That's what these stretcher bars are good for, you know. You get them on there, you don't have to put them up on the wall, you have them ready to go. And you can paint with them on the floor. There's a spider crawling on it now. See, spiders love these things. And, you know, you want to have it ready so that when the ideas come, you're golden. I mean, you want to be silver as a UFO and golden as a vintage brass vessel, or a cauldron of some variation, see, sometimes you gotta put new staples in. It's good to have backup staples. As you can see, I have mine in this nice case here because I don't want them to fall out of the wood box. So I keep them in this plastic box that I can reuse over and over and over again. You just keep going. This is a good workout on the arms, and this is, you know, humans say all the time that it's a really good thing if you exercise. So, okay, this is one trick. The corners are flaps, right? They're triangular flaps right on the corner, and I mean, you could let it show, but the tradition is to sort of wrap it on the side that will be seen the less. So we're just gonna go with how this used to be. The bottom of the writing's right here. So the bottom of the is gonna be right there. The bottom of the canvas is gonna be right there. So you'll see it mostly from the right side and the left side, but so we're just gonna make a triangle flap, a Yannick triangular spade-like flap, and we're gonna pull it like that. And then you see, and then you just put I put 2 or 3 staples in there, depending on the size of the stretcher bar frame. And then you just do that to each corner. So this side, we're gonna obviously do it on the top, but I'm gonna put one more staple right there. And like I said, you know, you think of an idea, you can pull out a notebook, you can just write it down real quick to reference later. But these things, you can really just get going right away on it, you know? You see something in the sky, you know, you can just run home and immediately start using any material you want on it. You can do that with paper too, but paint tends to crumple up the paper, and that's fun as well. You can just do whatever you want, basically. This is just my favorite method, right? Or my go-to method, should I say. I don't know if I have a favorite. I think they're all different for different situations. I don't always want to carry these things around with me to you know, a walk in the park or something. I'd rather have a little notebook on me in a case like that. So as you can see, we're really close to being done here. I'm going to do the Yannick flap right here. And this is not just a flap, it's an actual happening. I mean, a flap is a bunch of actual happenings, but this one is, well, you're watching it right now, aren't you? Oh, that's nice. Velvet Underground cover. See, it's so sweet. Is that a Nico song? I'm just not even sure, because it's also collaborative, right? Everything is basically collaborative. Yeah. Someone made this and even left his business card right there. Collaboration. My name's written on it too. And, you know, he forgot to mention where he got this purple foam from, or these wood bars. That was also part of the collaborative process, but sometimes it's best to leave certain things anonymous, and don't have to put in every detail. Okay, I think we're done. So that's perfect right there. I like to end on a good note. That one was kind of jaggedy, so I'm going to find another spot to... So that one was a little better, but not quite. So here's the biggest gap right here. Pull it tight. You're exercising your arm muscles right there, your wrist, your thumb, even up here a little bit, you know. You push really hard with that arm and get that long staple in there. Ooh, yeah, perfect. So then, you know, sometimes I work on the ground, sometimes I work on the wall. Sometimes I flip the thing upside down, but for the sake of the positioning of the camera, I'm just gonna get my water, my silver. I'm just gonna dip it in there, and you know, when I was out on my walk, this is basically what I saw. I looked up, I saw that one, I saw that one. And, you know, they were kind of like oval shaped, you know. They were, I mean, I think that's sort of because they were going like back and forth like that. But I love that splash of purple right in the middle of that. So I'm just gonna not paint over that spot because that is like a reverse depth thing. Like it seems like it would be on the surface, but it's actually underneath. So, and I love that color. So there's just a lot of reasons not to paint over that spot. But if you accidentally do, don't. There's no sense in freaking out. Like just go with it. I'm sure another splatter will accidentally end up there too, you know? And that just gives me the idea to add one myself. See, now I got those. So I saw that formation, and then this one over here was another situation happening where it was coming from like below me almost, like, because I was in this huge field and like the grounds, the back vanishing point started to look like the sky completely. It was completely black. I'm gonna start with the silver because I just don't want to add all the black right now. I think I'll add black. But sometimes I just don't do the things I think I'm gonna do. It's funny. But, I'm gonna paint around these rings. And, you know, because Jupiter I think was somewhere. Saturn is over there, so I think Jupiter is over here. So I'm gonna turn that into Jupiter. And even if it's not completely accurate, you know, at one point I'm sure it went past Jupiter too. These super fast flying discs that I saw. You know, they did have these rays, and I'll just add them with silver, but, you know, there was also magenta, some of them had, like, yellow, neon yellow, pink, like, dots at the tips of the rays. Like, almost like, I bet you if you got a longer chance to look at it, it would be, like, rays at the tip of the rays. So you have a little magenta. Or for convenience sake, I'm just gonna add fluorescent pink. Oh well, I already need to use fluorescent pink for the stripes, don't I? So, not for convenience, but switching it up, I'm gonna add the pink fluorescent stripes. These things get clogged sometimes, you just gotta work with it. Sometimes it spits it out. I didn't even tell you what these things are, but you know, they're these little Sennelier acrylic paint tubes. And I just stock up on them usually, you know, because you never know what color you're gonna need. You don't have to mix them, but I like to add paint to them as they get low, so they end up becoming mixed usually. And I just draw with them. So those magenta dots that I was talking about, you know, they're at the tip. Oh, there we go. So you get a little spray in there. It's kind of like airbrush. And so you got the rays coming out of the tips of the rays. That's really what I wanted to show you. But there's a lot I want to show you. These are the Jupiter rings. So I might even want to just fill this up with water, shake it, and squirt it. You know, like a squirt gun. And a water sprayer hose that you can squeeze it with your fingertips. And see, I have been gone, as you can tell, and these are like all empty. Haven't even filled them. Just been running around like crazy lately, trying to get things documented, so forget when I need to update my paint tubes. But that's okay, because it's also good to just work with the things on hand and use up stuff. You know, because if you end up not using a certain thing as much, and you don't touch it at all, it just sits there, and then you end up with all these other things that are like maybe not your favorites. So just use them earlier on, or at least after a year of seeing them nonstop. Just use them, or 2 years, whatever your situation might be. Maybe you're the type that uses things very sparsely, and you keep them all for like 10 years, and that's fine too. You have it organized to the brims of understanding your ways. And so I'm just going to see, I have this really nice chapstick. I'm just gonna paint right on there with the chapstick. Creates like this wax surface. And my guess is that the paint is just gonna spread right off it. I've never tried this before. All I really got on hand for liquidy paint would be this red. I added water to it at one point. So we'll just drop that right over the chapstick. Yeah, see that? It's just trying to escape it. It's just like dispersing off it. So I'm just curious to see what that'll do in like a half hour from now. So we'll see you in half an hour. And thank you, because this is important that we all can document together. And see, I just can't stop myself. I need to add a top hat for this, because I did see something similar to that too. Not from last night, but a few nights before that. And it was just floating like a top hat, just like that. And, you know, that one had rays too. But just until the moment you think you know what you saw, it just completely turns into something else. Elusive motherfuckers, you know?